Welcome to Autism Insights. I'm Bill Locke, your host, father of a 29-year-old with autism and a volunteer with Autism Calgary.
Having repetitive behavior, so they may have associated problems like OCD, ADHD, anxiety in a way.
Welcome to our fourth episode of Autism Insights. Today, we're going to start by hearing from the chairman of the Premier's Council on Charities and Civil Society, a person with some pretty impressive academic credentials and expertise for us in the world of autism, Dr. Joel Christie. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you, Bill. Looking forward to talking with you.
Well, Joel, before we get going too far, I just want to explore some of your background so people have some idea of who you are and where you've come from and your experience around this realm. I would say that you are a rare commodity, an unusual person in that you have been hip deep at high level and grassroots in these things to do with seniors and mental health in community for a long time. Would you say that's true?
Yes, if you say so. No, it is. Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. I don't have to say anything else now.
Well, just for the record, Joel, just tell me a little bit about your educational background and some of your professional background, a couple of things that you've done, maybe two or three things that you've done along these lines.
Sure. I've spent 10 years in mental health in the mental health field, right from Alberta Hospital Edmonton, where I was in charge of the admission system there for the social work. I got my MSW particularly in community development as a methodology in mental health. So I looked at how we can build healthy communities, mentally healthy communities and supports for people undergoing stress and actually in mental illness with psychosis and whatever. So we developed a number of new programs while I was there. And then when Lougheed regionalized mental health, I was asked to come down to Calgary here and look at how to develop, work with organizations in Calgary to build a network of support for those being discharged from the mental hospitals, and work with those being discharged from the psychiatric wards here in Calgary. Then after 5-6 years of that, I was then appointed as the first public guardian of the province under the Dependent Adults Act, and I set up the Office of the Public Guardian, which then was regionalized, and worked with becoming guardians of people whose family had no family members or whatever, and yet could not make their own personal decisions. This was looking at personal guardianship decisions, and they were staying in the institution just because of that, because they didn't know with whom to consort, didn't have the ability to give medical consent, or with whom to consort, or where to live. So I worked with them and set up the original office, and then went back for my doctorate in organizational change. And I looked at management of strategic change in large complex organizations, where I actually studied the Department of Social Services at the time. And since then, I've been appointed as chair of the Premier's Council on Charities and Civil Society.
Many of us are worrywarts. And this is particularly true for people with autism. They have their own particular challenges and a lot of things to be anxious about. Take it from someone who knows, Terrance Malkinson.
Health and wellness it permeates every aspect of your life. You don't put yourself into stressful situations. And if something does happen that may be stressful, then you realize, no, it's not that serious a thing. And it isn't. I mean, I have all kinds of things that happen to me. You know, you make a deposit in there, or transfer some money in the bank to one account to another, and then you think, oh, I wonder if the money really went into the account, and you go back and you check and stuff like that. And after a while you realize, you know, don't get stressed out about this. The system is foolproof. Yeah, it works well. You know, sometimes you, with autism and other conditions, you often become compulsive. And you wonder, did I lock the door when you went out? Or did I turn off the light? Or did I turn off the stove or something like that? So, you know, first you think, oh, this is kind of weird. I must be going nuts. But no, it's not. It's just the natural part of the condition. And so don't get stressed out about it, you know. And if you suddenly have this feeling, well, did I lock the door? Maybe I should go back and check. And you say to yourself, no, I'm not going back to check. And so when you come back from your trip, you try the door, yeah, it's locked. And I think, yeah, okay, no problem. You know, it's not worth getting stressed out about these sorts of things. So it's really kind of funny when you think afterwards. But but again, you just understand the condition. You deal with it.
What happens when our society lacks the capacity or the will to address the health challenges which autism can bring? What problems arise when healthcare for the whole person is not a priority? Bennett Thomas, in collaboration with his father, Dr. Roger Thomas, has studied these issues in depth. Here are some of his thoughts.
Seniors with autism have a unique set of problems. The lion's share of autism funding goes to children and young adults. About less than 5% goes to seniors. Many seniors end up undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. Therefore, they end up receiving no treatment or inappropriate treatment. And a lot of seniors with autism lack basic life skills. So a lot of parents are worried about who's going to take care of their children when they're gone. A study compared the health of 4,700 autistic seniors and 46,800 typical seniors and found that autistic adults are significantly more likely than typical adults to have 19 of the 22 physical health conditions and 8 of the 9 mental health conditions examined in the study. Adults with autism are 19 times as likely as controls to have epilepsy and 6 times as likely to have Parkinson's disease. They are 25 times as likely to have schizophrenia or other forms of psychosis, 11 times as likely to have suicidal thoughts or engage in intentional self-injury, and 22 times as likely to have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Finally, Maureen Bennie talks about some of the challenges she has faced when raising her children with autism. It's had a deep impact on her life.
When he got diagnosed on that day, it was a Friday, We were given 5 pamphlets from the Children's Hospital and told good luck. And I didn't have a clue how to apply for a service, how you got funding, nothing. And it took me 6 months beyond that to really get something in place. And then I started to notice that my daughter was presenting very similarly, some differences, but had a lot of the traits, the lack of language, the no eye contact, really seemed to be in her own world most of the time. And then we were having no language development even by the age of 15, 16 months. So I ended up getting her diagnosed as well. And I think that event of having the kids diagnosed only a year apart caused me to have a textbook nervous breakdown in September of 2001 on the job, where I was teaching elementary and junior high music. So the school board sent their psychologist out to talk to me because they wouldn't let me go home in that state. And he had said right in that very first meeting that I should give Julia up for adoption and not even try raising her. Finally pulled myself out of that and got off all of those meds. I started Autism Awareness Center in June 2003, and it was really, it's been a life-changing event for me because it sent me on a path to feel much more empowered. I was always a firm believer that education is really the key to any kind of success, because when you have education, you have options, you have ideas, and then you also know what to ask for when you go into appointments. You can say, hey, I've heard about this. Would this be applicable to my child? And then starting Autism Awareness Center also got me in this incredible global community as well as national community, and taught me that everyone is really, we have the same goals for our children, or adults have the same goals for themselves of wanting to feel happy and have a sense of well-being. And how do you get there? By being involved with this internationally as well as nationally, it connected me to a broader community.
That's the end of our episode for today. Thank you for tuning in. Join us again for another episode of Autism Insights.